They heard me say it. I said that. If I was on there, I said that.
Turn around, please. You did not.
Shekinah, you stopped them, and I said the same. You asked me, do you think I'm happier? That you asked me the question, and I answered it. So why would you sit there and say that?
Because I am happy.
But why would you sit there and say that I ain't say that?
You did.
I think she's happy. Yes, I did.
It wasn't loud and clear.
Tammy.
Yeah?
Tell me what's going on out there. What's going on?
Atlanta's entertainment world has been thrown into chaos. Leaked documents and secret audios have surfaced online, shaking the foundation of T.I.'s career. The rumors? That Shekinah Anderson is pregnant, and the alleged father is none other than Clifford T.I. Harris himself. Within hours, social media went wild. Hashtags like #DNA4TI, #Justice4Tiny, and #Shekinah Pregnant took over every timeline. Fans were heartbroken, claiming Tiny's entire world had collapsed overnight. What started as whispers quickly exploded into a full-blown scandal when medical records leaked, seemingly confirming the pregnancy, with dates matching T.I.'s stay at a luxury Atlanta hotel. To many, it looked like undeniable proof of betrayal. Tiny couldn't stay silent. Shaken but firm, she faced reporters with tears in her eyes and said, "I want a DNA test. I deserve the truth." Her words spread across every platform within minutes, turning her pain into the voice of millions who felt betrayal and love. But before the truth could come out, a mysterious insider released screenshots of alleged messages from Shekinah warning that if the DNA test became public, T.I. will lose everything: his wife, his empire, his name. That single leak set the internet ablaze again. Suddenly, this wasn't just gossip, it was a war of secrets and power. Inside the courtroom, tension was thick enough to cut through. Reporters filled every seat as Tiny entered with her lawyers, trying to hold herself together. Moments later, Shekinah walked in surrounded by guards, visibly pregnant but stone-faced. Then came T.I., silent, his face unreadable. The judge read the case title, Tamika Tiny Harris vs. Clifford T.I. Harris and Shekinah Anderson, and the crowd erupted. But what came next froze everyone. A voice recording was played, allegedly T.I.'s, saying, "Don't worry, Shekinah. If this gets out, I'll handle Tiny." Gasps filled the room. Tiny screamed through tears, "You destroyed our family," and collapsed before cameras, her daughter rushing to her side as reporters captured every second. Outside the courthouse, chaos ruled. Fans cried. Protesters held justice for Tiny signs, and others shouted that T.I. had betrayed the woman who built an empire beside him. The city that once celebrated him was now watching his downfall in real time. But it didn't stop there. As the judge prepared to reveal the DNA results, silence gripped the room. The envelope was opened, the words read slowly, 99.9% probability, Clifford Harris is the biological father. The courtroom exploded. Tiny wailed in disbelief while Shekinah broke down, whispering, "I never wanted this." The internet caught fire again, labeling it the biggest betrayal in hip-hop history. Headlines screamed, "DNA bombshell, T.I. exposed." Tiny's heartbreak turned into fury. She threw a water bottle across the table, yelling, "You ruined my life." Security rushed in, reporters shouted questions, and the judge struggled to restore order. Outside, the chants grew louder, "Cancel T.I., stand with Tiny." Within hours, brands began cutting ties, endorsements vanished, and T.I.'s empire started to crumble. His label released a short statement saying they were reviewing the situation. Meanwhile, Tiny became a symbol of strength. Her emotional statement, "I will rise, I'll make sure my children know the truth about the man who broke our home," went viral, drawing millions of supporters. But for Shekinah, life turned into a nightmare. She received threats, her house was surrounded by angry fans, and her social media filled with hate. One night, she went live crying, saying, "I didn't destroy that family, he did. He told me he loved me." Her confession only added fuel to the fire. Then came the final blow, divorce papers. Tiny officially filed for separation, demanding half of T.I.'s assets, full custody of their kids, and damages for emotional distress. The court filing leaked, describing years of public humiliation and repeated betrayal. The once golden couple of Atlanta was now history. Their empire, built on love, fame, and loyalty, had collapsed in front of the world. What began as a leak had become a storm, and there was no going back. The chaos was irreversible. The image of Tiny walking out of court, hiding tear-stained eyes behind dark glasses, holding her children's hands, spread across every news feed in the world. Headlines screamed, "Tiny ends it all, divorce after DNA shock. T.I.'s empire crumbles. Shekinah pregnant and alone." By nightfall, the once golden Harris family had fallen apart. T.I. sat alone in his massive mansion, surrounded by silence that felt heavier than any crowd he'd ever faced. Tiny, now living with her mother, was embraced by millions who called her the symbol of strength, a queen who rose from the ruins. And Shekinah? She vanished completely, disappearing from the spotlight she once craved, now blamed for everything. But the aftermath was just beginning. Rumors of T.I. losing over $30 million in contracts hit the media. Sources whispered that Tiny was already writing a tell-all memoir, while others claimed Shekinah had packed up and left Atlanta for good. The empire once built on loyalty, fame, and power was now nothing but ashes, betrayal, resentment, and shattered dreams. This wasn't just celebrity drama anymore. It was betrayal at its rawest. A wife broken, a mistress exposed, a king dethroned. The DNA didn't just reveal a child. It revealed how fragile fame becomes when it's built on lies. As cameras zoomed in on Tiny's tear-streaked face, one truth became impossible to ignore: she was no longer T.I.'s wife. She had become the tragic queen of a fallen kingdom. The question now wasn't whether this family could heal, but if there was anything left to save. A marriage ended, a home divided, and children caught in a storm they didn't create. Tiny's tears weren't only for herself. They were for the love she fought for, the home she built, and the man she thought she knew. But once the DNA results came out and Shekinah's pregnancy could no longer be denied, everything shifted. T.I. wasn't just battling headlines anymore, he was watching his empire crumble in real time. Tiny stood at a crossroads, clutching the truth in one hand and the pieces of her heart in the other. What the world was witnessing wasn't fiction. It was a tragedy unfolding live, a friendship turned toxic, a marriage destroyed, and a legacy stained forever. The courtroom that day didn't feel like justice. It felt like judgment. Shekinah sat quietly, her pregnancy now visible for all to see, feeling every stare like a knife. Her lawyer whispered something, but she barely heard it. Her trembling eyes stayed locked on the sealed envelope that held everyone's fate. Across the room, T.I. sat frozen, jaw tight, his entire world hanging on one sheet of paper. The judge cleared his throat, the air turned heavy, and silence filled the room. "These DNA results," he said slowly, "will determine not just the child's paternity, but the fate of this family." The clerk tore open the envelope. Paper rustled. Hearts pounded. Then came the words no one was ready for. The test concludes with 99.9% probability. Clifford Harris, publicly known as T.I., is the biological father of Shekinah Anderson's child. The courtroom exploded. Gasps, screams, flashes, chaos everywhere. Tiny's knees buckled as she cried out, "Why, Clifford? Why would you do this to me?" Her daughter rushed to her side, begging her to stop as cameras captured every heartbreaking moment. Across the aisle, Shekinah wept uncontrollably. "I never wanted this," she sobbed. "He promised me everything." She tried to approach Tiny, but Tiny shouted through tears, "You ruined my life. You destroyed my home. Don't you dare act innocent." The judge's gavel slammed again and again, but order was gone. Outside, the streets were chaos, fans chanting "Cancel T.I. Stand with Tiny," while news outlets called it the biggest betrayal in hip-hop history. Then came the final nail in the coffin, a leaked video. T.I. was seen laughing with friends just weeks before the trial. "Tiny ain't going nowhere," he smirked. "She can cry, she can sue, but she'll always need me. Shekinah? She's just another move in the game." The internet exploded again. Fans called him manipulative, arrogant, and cold-hearted. His record label released a brief statement saying they were re-evaluating their partnership with Clifford Harris. Endorsements vanished overnight. Tiny, however, became a symbol of resilience. Her emotional statement, "I will rise. My children will know the truth about the man who tore our home apart," was shared across the world. Meanwhile, Shekinah faced relentless hate. Her social media filled with threats, and protesters gathered outside her home. One night, she went live crying, "I didn't destroy that family. He did. He told me he loved me. Now I'm being hunted like a criminal." Days later, the last chapter began, divorce papers. Tiny officially filed, demanding full custody, half of T.I.'s assets, and damages for emotional trauma. The leaked filing described years of repeated betrayal and public humiliation. And just like that, the Harris legacy was gone. What once looked like a kingdom built on love now lay in ruins, proof that when deception runs deep, even the strongest empire can collapse overnight. Endorsements vanished almost instantly, leaving T.I.'s empire in ruins. Meanwhile, Tiny became the face of heartbreak and resilience, the woman who gave everything and lost it all. Her words echoed across every screen. "I never thought my family name would face this kind of humiliation. But I'll rise. I'll fight. And I'll make sure my children know the truth about the man who destroyed our home." Shekinah, on the other hand, disappeared into silence. Her phone was flooded with threats as angry crowds gathered outside her home. One night, she went live on Instagram, her eyes swollen and voice shaking, saying, "I didn't ruin that family, he did. He told me he loved me. Now I'm the one being hunted." Then came the final blow, divorce papers. Tiny officially filed to end her marriage, demanding full custody, half of T.I.'s wealth, and damages for emotional pain. When the court documents leaked, the world saw the ugly truth: betrayal, public humiliation, and years of emotional damage. The photo of Tiny leaving the courthouse in dark glasses, holding her children's hands, became the defining image of the scandal. Headlines screamed, "Tiny ends it all. Divorce after DNA bombshell. T.I.'s empire falls." By nightfall, the Harris dynasty was gone. T.I. sat in silence, his phone lighting up with messages filled with blame. Tiny stayed with her mother, surrounded by love and support, while Shekinah vanished completely. Still, the gossip didn't stop. Rumors claimed T.I. lost $30 million in contracts, that Tiny was writing a tell-all, and that Shekinah had left Atlanta for good. What was once a story of power and fame had turned into one of betrayal and heartbreak. The DNA results didn't just confirm fatherhood, they exposed the truth about deception. Tiny, once a wife, had become the heartbroken queen of a fallen empire. And now, the question wasn't if this family could heal, it was whether there was anything left to heal at all.